Thanks for joining us, Khaldun. We're to chat about someone who we can truly call a legend, I think, after 10 years, David Silva. Can we go right back to the beginning? Can you tell me when you first got the inkling that he might sign for City, and what was the pitch to you at that time?
Well, it goes back to 2010. We were in that very critical point in that first phase of the evolution of Manchester City. We were looking for a playmaker.
Let me go in first.
A lot of credit I have to give to Brian Marwood and Gary Cook back then. We were following him throughout that year. The name had come to me in many occasions during the year. Brian had a lot of conviction. David was our man. When you're buying players, at least in my experience over the years, you will see sometimes when there is convictions in the eyes of your manager, your football director. I think both Brian and Roberto had very clear convictions, I would say. It wasn't a difficult decision because it was clear to me this was our player. He had just won the World Cup, and David was convinced of the direction we were going. It was a big bet, to be fair to him, a young lad, and he took a view of where this club was going to go. It was a smooth affair.
So how much pride have you got in the way the team has grown around him, and how much pride in the fact that he's been that catalyst for the transformation?
David Silva was instrumental to this beautiful football philosophy that we've implemented, and he was the start that summer. He's put his stamp on the team. He's put his stamp on the club, on the history of this club. He put his stamp on the Premier League as a whole. Many people will agree the Premier League will never be the same after David Silva. He has, really been a transformational type player on the entire league, and has added a lot to English football. He's a leader. He's a leader that sits quietly and inspires everyone around him. Everyone within our academy, all the players that have played at this club over the last 10 years, and the ones that we have today. And we'll look back and we'll look at David Silva always as an inspiration.
We've talked about the beautiful football, but what we haven't talked about is that mental toughness. How important is that?
What people, I think, sometimes underestimate with David is his physicality. He came in not the tallest of players, not the most physical of players, very technical. He can fall, I think, wrongfully into that category of a very technical attacking midfielder, playmaker. But in reality, he's one of the most physical players on the pitch. His mental toughness, but also his physical toughness. We've seen it over the years, and it's been one of the things that I have to say surprised everyone. You've heard Pep many times talk about that. You've heard Pellegrini in the past, but also Mancini, I remember. Always, and I'll tell you, in my conversations with him, one of the things that always amazes them with David is how competitive he is, how aggressive, and how tough. I mean, this boy is a tough player, and he's shown it over the years.
Are there any plans to offer David a role at the club or within the group once his playing days are finished?
He's earned himself a place as part of this family forever. This is a man that has done everything for this club, and has earned that right to be part of it in any way or form that he chooses whenever he decides to end his career.
Given what you've just said, how is the club going to mark his departure when it finally comes?
There's that saying, he deserves a statue. Well, if there's anyone that deserves that, it's David. When Vincent moved on, we agreed and we promised to put a statue for Vincent. We're well underway in terms of developing that statue. In this case, David, everybody will agree with me, all our fans. If there's one person that needs to be and have their special place in front of the Ittihad, it's David Silva. We're going to work closely with David himself on choosing the ultimate design for that statue, and we will have a statue for David in front of the Ittihad. I think all our fans will truly appreciate for him and for the history of the club. In addition to that, I think as an inspiration to all these youngsters we have at the academy, having a training pitch named after David, where we have these young lads and young girls walking by it, training on that pitch, and being constantly reminded of this legend of a club, I think is also another thing that I feel very strongly about and very important to be part of our academy. So these are two simple things that David has deserved, and that's the least we can give.
I think you've just made many Manchester City fans all over the world very happy with that answer. So one final question. Vincent Kompany once said David had changed how City fans see the game. So pre-David, our fans loved dogged fighters, hard work was paramount. Where he believes, Vincent said he believes the fans now love artistry, thanks to David's influence. So I'm guessing, is that the case? And does greatness breed greatness, I guess, is the simple way of asking that question.
David has changed the game, and David has changed the appreciation, I think, of our entire fan base of how our football, our brand of football, is being played and is going to be played continuously. The way we play today, this philosophy that we have seen evolve over the last 10 years, and he's played through 3 managers, and now ultimately with Pep Guardiola, you've seen now a brand of football that our fans have grown to love and appreciate and expect. This is his legacy to Manchester City, to our fans all over the world, to the brand of football, and to be honest, also to the Premier League. I think that's one thing that David has left or will be leaving, not just to us, but also to I think football in England.